Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed.
Yo, what is going on, Xbox and YouTube? Now, welcome back to some more RollerCoaster Tycoon. Now, we are back testing out the brand new update that has just been added to RollerCoaster Tycoon, update number 5. Now, update number 5 brings tons of graphical improvement, path improvements, and peep improvements. Now, starting with the graphics, all sci-fi coaster loading stations have brand new textures, improved seating on all of the coasters for better fit for the Peeps, which I will debate about later, improved depth of field and field of view effects when riding in the roller coaster cam, which I will talk about a little bit more here later on. But now on to the paths. Now we have brand new path nodes, which basically mean beforehand when you would create a path or you would try to create a path, it would already leave the nodes there. So when you created a path and deleted the path, the pre-existing nodes, which are basically markers for the internal programming of the game, would remain where they were. So when you were trying to build a path or trying to connect a path to another path, it sometimes was a hell of an experience, or even trying to connect a path was almost impossible sometimes. But they have now made it much better. I'm not saying that they have completely fixed it, but it is a lot easier now to create the pathing system. So that is very, very cool, and a very much welcomed update into RollerCoaster Tycoon world. Now we have other AI improvements, such as the graphical fidelity of the Peeps within the park. They are slowly adjusting the way that these Peeps look and the way that they move. So their movements will slowly, very slowly stop looking less like some ridiculous horror film and more or less like a real movement within a game. And they also have tons of more updates with the Peeps as well, such as their ability to be much happier once they get off rides, because a lot of people were complaining that the Peeps were not getting enough happiness off of the ride, therefore really kind of screwing with the whole game as far as the game types go when you are trying to play in anything else other than sandbox. So they have tweaked a few of the things that are going along with the Peeps, and how they use the bathrooms, and how happy they are, and how likely they are to go get help from a medic if they are feeling sick, and how likely they are to basically sit down when they are feeling sick. The same thing has been done for the janitors. Now they have a better cleaning and walking animation, and they should spread out throughout the park a lot better now. So that is a much welcomed fucking update, I can tell you that much. Now on to performance. Now performance has been improved when using the path tool. Now I don't really know if I would call that performance. And it also has screen space reflections now disabled when zoom out, I'm sorry, for performance. But there are still tons of problems with the user-generated content. There are tons of problems that I have personally came up with, and after reading the patch notes, I honestly believe a lot of the things are still left behind. Now, the biggest problem that we are still talking about since I started making RollerCoaster Tycoon world videos was the peep count problem. Now, we have the same problem, but it is getting slightly better, but we still have we still have it, so it's still there, but it's much more playable. Instead of getting 10 frames, you are now getting 35 to 40 frames with your park open and having people walking around. Now, as the park grows bigger and more people come to your park, and you start to get up into the thousands when it comes to your Peeps, the same thing still happens. The frame rate just goes wacky as all hell, and for no reason whatsoever, because as you can see within this video, I have noticed throughout playing that if you bring up your free camera, now I don't know if this would work if we had 5,000 people in the park, but if you bring up your free camera, the video or the game automatically goes to 60 frames without even a problem, and you could pretty much fly throughout the map. So that was kind of blowing my mind, and I was trying to troubleshoot that and trying to figure out why when I go into free camera mode that all of the game runs perfectly smooth almost at 60 frames all the time. But the minute I disable Freecam and go back into the editing tool, it automatically drops a good 15 to 20 frames. Now, I've already pretty much identified this problem within the last update, and it doesn't seem like they have fixed it. Now, the problem with the frame rate being all messed up when you are using your editing tools has a lot to do with the draw distance, because I have noticed, which I don't think I have any footage of, but if I do, I will put it in this video. But I have noticed that when you scroll in to a certain distance, details tends to come in and out of the game, and right in that same area is when you tend to get a frame rate drop or a frame rate increase, depending on if you are scrolling in or if you are scrolling out. So this is something that is very noticeable, but what really blows my mind is when you go into Freecam, a lot of those problems seem to be automatically fixed. But now, talking about the Freecam, because this was something I really wanted to talk about, they said that the screen space reflections are now disabled when zoomed out for performance, improved performance when using the pathing tool. Now, those are all true. But the one thing that they did not talk about when they said there was an improved camera for riding roller coasters was the very fact that the camera that you are using now is fisheyed. So the entire map looks extremely fisheyed when you are in a rideable camera view, such as riding a roller coaster or any other ride within your park. Now, the roller coasters look fine with this fisheye view. It doesn't really seem to bother me too much, but when it's really noticeable is when you go within any other ride, such as the Ferris wheel, such as basically any other flat ride that you go onto. The camera is completely messed up, and you thought it was bad before. It has just gotten worse as far as the ride cameras go. Now, I don't know why they did this, and I don't really understand like how they even implemented this without even realizing the very fact that it broke every other ride camera in the game. Now, I understand that they have a very little amount of people working on this game, but that is still no excuse for the ridiculous update here. Now, I'm normally very, very positive when it comes to RollerCoaster Tycoon, but this is absolutely ridiculous. The day that the update came out, which this has since been fixed or hot fixed, but the day the update came out, UGC content was not allowed to be overlaid onto any other content. Therefore, if you wanted to put a creepy tree in, or if you wanted to be creative with the smoke emitters or the fog emitters, you could not overlay those into anything, just like I did right here with these restaurants. You could not do that as of yesterday, but I believe they have had a hot fix because now I can do that. But it just seems like they have broken a lot more than they have fixed. And to be honest with you guys, I really don't believe that they should be adding any brand new content. I don't believe that they should really be worried about how the coaster physics are. I really believe that they should be completely concerned about the performance of the game. If you can't get a stable 30 or 60 frames out of the game, which is very noticeable right now, and I do understand this is still early access, but if I bring the game down to its lowest resolution, I should never get a frame rate drop. And yet I still get frame rate drops constantly, regardless of your quality setting or resolution. So right there, it tells you that there is a major bug and flaw within the game. Now, I was able to build an entire park that you see right in front of you without any problems, and once again, I was able to build it while having 60 frames in the game almost the entire time. But the minute I allowed anybody in my park, so that means the minute I opened my park and got well above 50 people, well, as we went up by 100, and then we went up by 1,000 people within the park, and then we went up by hundreds after that, frame rates consistently drop by 5 to 6 frames depending on how many people you have in your park. So every 100 to 200 peeps you add to your park, you lose about 3 to 5 frames. So as you fill your park, the performance just continues to go down just like it did before. Not saying that the game has not gotten better with its performance, but I just don't understand why they distract themselves with trying to add things to the game and trying to change other things to the game when the game itself does not even run smoothly. Now, this is not me hating on the game. I love RollerCoaster Tycoon. I grew up on RollerCoaster Tycoon, and I wish nothing but the best for this game. But when you see the developers basically trying to hide problems, and that's right, hide the problems. I watched the live stream of this update 3 days or 2 days before the update went public, and I was watching one of the devs play in the dev room of the RollerCoaster Tycoon developmental building. And he was live streaming the game, and one of the craziest things, the first red flag that I noticed for one was the guy was completely inexperienced. He had no idea really what he was talking about as far as live streaming. He had no idea how to really talk to people and how to get the message out there about the updates. He was very incoherent and very, very spastic and all over the place with what he was saying. He could not stay on topic at all. And for one, that speaks a lot towards the professionalism that we have working on the game. So the game is running great according to this guy, but the funny part is he pauses the game, which most of you who have played RollerCoaster Tycoon know that if you pause the game, well, you get a better frame rate. And the very developer of the game, while he's live streaming, is getting a god-awful frame rate. He is getting stuttering, he is getting FPS drops, and you can clearly see it happening throughout the entire live stream, which I will link in the description below for you guys to check out if you would like to. But it's just really sad that even when people are asking this guy, what's up with the frame rate? Have you fixed the Peep problem within the game? Nobody seems to want to acknowledge the very fact that the problem exists or that they are even trying to fix it. He seems to acknowledge the most stupid problems within the game, like roller coaster physics and the very fact that your pathing doesn't make a straight line. Which, yeah, is a big deal, but right now, if the game doesn't run smoothly, even at 30 frames, I believe the pathing system is the last thing that we have to worry about. And to be honest, RollerCoaster Tycoon is slowly losing a very dedicated fan here by just the disloyalty and the dishonest that I feel from the company. The vibe that I got off of that live stream was nothing but horrible. And after checking out this brand new update, there are a lot of very good things, but it just seems like they really did not pay attention to any of the major flaws that the major people, run into when using this game. We still have major memory overusages when trying to build roller coasters. I've had the game freeze 3 or 4 times after update number 5 just trying to build my own custom roller coaster. So I really haven't tried to even build roller coasters in this game because all the game does is crash. No, I'm not complaining about that. This is just an observation. But how do they expect us to test anything when the game doesn't run properly? So in my opinion, I believe they should worry more about performance and less about features at this point, and basically just try to get the game walking on its own 2 legs. Now, this is my own opinion, and don't get it wrong, guys. I still completely enjoy playing RollerCoaster Tycoon. I just really wonder sometimes what's going on under the hood, and I'm sure a lot of you wonder the same thing. But with that being said, guys, I would rate this brand new update a solid 6.5 out of 10, 10 being the best, mainly because I don't feel like the developmental team listened to anything that we said, and they seem to be fixing more or less number problems than bugs and fixes and frame rate, problems and performance, and it just is a really sad thing to see. But I still am holding out hope for this game, and I still will play it regardless. I just really hope the developers really start to listen to what's going on in the game, because it seems like, to be honest with you guys, I know more about what's wrong with RollerCoaster Tycoon World than the actual developers do, and that just speaks a lot to how much they really spend on this game. And if I'm wrong, I would gladly love to be proven wrong. I'll accept that any day. But with that being said, guys, if I've opened your perspective on the brand new update number 5, and if you've really enjoyed my brand new test park for update number 5, please remember to like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.